Welcome back, everyone. This is our bonus episode of the season. I'm here with Elizabeth Gore, founder and CEO of Hello Alice. Thank you so much for being here, Elizabeth, for our podcast and our panel yesterday on entrepreneurial women. I'm just so excited to spend this time with you.
Oh, it's howdy. It is such a pleasure. I am so inspired by you, by the work and the students and the small business owners I got to meet here in New Haven.
Yes, exactly. Yesterday, usually at panels, we just have a bunch of students. And yesterday we had a good mix of students and just community members, many of whom were small businesses, and also the lab at Core, which is a small business incubator and accelerator. And they were all kind of pointing to how they receive mentorship and support from each other. And that just exemplifies the beauty of small businesses.
And we got to go to Havenly, which is just an incredible catering business, training immigrant women to come into society, and so many of them have started their own businesses.
Exactly. It's like
so
they're
exciting.
Graduating social entrepreneurs. And then your co-panelist, Alicia Crutchfield, founder of Bloom, will be, I'll podcast with her separately. But tell us more about Hello Alice and what you do and how it all started.
Absolutely. So at Hello Alice, we are an AI platform that ensures equitable access to capital to small business owners. So we love Main Street. We're proud to serve 1.6 million small business owners to help them get funding. And then equally as important is to help them with their financial fitness. So ensuring their bookkeeping, their cash flow management, and their business planning around growth. So they use our business health score. That is a pre-underwriting tool to ensure that they are pointed through the correct decisions, products, and opportunities to grow their business. And the thing I'm most excited is we have a bit of a cult community. Our small business owners on Hello Us love each other. And many of them have been on almost 9 years now, growing together. We went through COVID together. Now we're going through tariffs together. So it's also almost an accidental community, and we love advocating for them. We've been through thick and thin on different issues together. I'm headed to DC today for the Supreme Court argument around tariffs. So my co-founder, Kellen Rods, and I have just found this so purposeful, and we're obsessed with the power of small business for this country.
I love that. And yesterday you shared a really powerful statistic that in the U.S., there was a poll, and people tell you, it's better for you to tell it.
Oh, yeah. I can go on and on. So a Gallup, which is a top polling company, and then two other polls actually, said the most trusted entities in the United States are small business owners. Firefighters are right below them, which we love too. But small business owners just have an extreme amount of love and trust and support in this country. And I think particularly after COVID, when we couldn't be with our small businesses, there was such an extreme understanding of your childcare center, your coffee shop, your laundromat, your accountant, your local grocer, and how critical they are. And the reason that inspires me is that means in this country we trust and love each other, because small business owners are your neighbors.
It's just your neighbor.
They're your friends. They're your family members. They're also 99% of businesses in this country are small. They are the largest employers. So, I think that realization and the trust we have in our communities and our business owners is quite a powerful statement. And it was also noted in a couple of opinion columns that it's also the last bastion of bipartisan is actually small business owners. I mean, we just went through an election the last 48 hours, and both sides are always touting how critical small businesses are. So, it's the fabric of this country.
And who invests in them? Because on this podcast and in my class, we're always talking about venture capitalists and venture philanthropists and like grant makers and people that invest in either nonprofits or innovation-based startups that are going to scale. But we don't really talk about small businesses, and your company helps them access capital.
Right.
Where's this capital coming from?
So we're venture-backed, I'll just say, as a company, so we can talk about that all day long. But small business owners generally, the average small business owner needs around $10,000. Isn't that interesting at any one time?
Yeah.
And so, we're looking at loans or credit or lines of credit, average $50,000, maximum generally is $250,000. And that goes a long way. The other thing that's critical is we love small business grants. We do about 60 million ourselves in small business grants for our business owners, but there are federal small business, state, economic development boards, there are philanthropists, there are corporations. We run small business grants for FedEx and DoorDash and Progressive and PayPal. And so I always encourage small business owners, before you apply for anything, first get your financial fitness center, but really look around for non-dilutive, non-interest running grants.
That's really smart. So an entrepreneur will go to your website, put in their information, get a financial health score.
Exactly.
And then what happens? How do they then connect with capital?
So we then put them through decision trees. First, before we even say you should apply for anything, we make sure that your books are in order, that you're using the right accounting services, even is your cybersecurity correct? How's your insurance? If you do have employees, payroll services. Once all that is straight, because we want to lower decline rates, then, is it time to apply for capital? Generally, folks apply for one of two reasons. They need to grow, so they need capital for growth, or COVID or natural disasters, or there's a problem, so they need to bail out of a problem. So we don't encourage capital if you don't need it. And so we really first say, do you need it? Why? Are your books in order? Then let's go. So once that's there, we have about 92 lenders on our site that we've approved as non-predatory. They're equitable. They range from a huge bank to a local CDFI or credit union. We also really believe, and this is for high growth entrepreneurs who are venture backed down to small business, that you're really smart about credit. So using operational credit, we think of it day to day just my credit card, but using credit in your business is a great way to track data. It's a great way to get cash back. It's a great way to get discounts. You just have to be very responsible and make sure you're paying that off.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that it's basically like each entrepreneur gets a virtual agent that kind of coaches them.
Exactly right.
Coaches them through the process.
So think of it as an AI advisor. So the reason I love it is when I started Hello Well, I majored in animal science. It's funny to be at Yale. I went to Texas A&M.
Yeah, seriously.
I didn't have a business degree, and then I had a whole career as a humanitarian. I was in the Peace Corps, and then I was with the UN over 10 years. So when I went to start this business, I didn't have a finance background. I had never written a term sheet or a business plan. So I, at the time, reached out to, advisors, people I knew in finance, people I knew who are in accounting, people I knew who are in marketing. Now, the ability to use AI agents in those capacities is amazing, particularly for women and people of color, U.S. veterans, because we don't have those kinds of networks always. We don't have that kind of access. And so if you look at the deplorable rates of capital that are not going to these amazing entrepreneurs, a lot of times it's lack of access. So I'm super fired up about AI getting more popular. We've been using it for a decade, but it's getting less expensive. It's getting better, especially with agentic, where honestly it's like a super advisor sitting next to you as you run your business.
And that can make or break a small business.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. The other thing is time poverty. I mean, we small business owners are I look at the founder of Havenly yesterday. She had so much going. She was seeing us. She was talking to the cooks. I saw her signing invoices. Small business owners, until they have over 20 employees, they're doing everything. They have no time. And so the ability to use AI and use Hello Wellness to save a business owner time, I think is just as important as access to capital.
Exactly.
Time is harder than capital. There's one person that can do a lot of this stuff.
They probably need time even more than they need money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I met the founder of, what's the amazing ice cream shop? Orange.
Elena is on Orange.
Elena's on Orange. We were talking yesterday. She wants to open a second space, right? And only she can do that. So she has to find the ability to deploy either AI or hire other people to now run the first shop. And so I get really excited about, again, giving people time so they can do what only that founder can do with their unique talent.
Yeah, and she has like she just had a
Yeah,
baby, and it's
exactly.
like
Exactly.
she's also really active in like city
In our
politics
community,
and
right?
managing,
I
and
mean, I could go all
it's a
day. I
lot.
mean, I had
Yeah.
2 babies when I was building this business. I mean, moms starting businesses, that's a whole different level of, time and tears and whew, it's a lot, but we need that support.
Yeah, and the theme of yesterday's panel was what we can learn from
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial women
Mm-hmm.
and how they navigate the additional barriers that they face in
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship. So it's not that women are inherently different, but they do face additional
Sure.
barriers. And so the stories that they tell about how they navigate those barriers, I feel
Mm-hmm.
carries a lot of lessons for all of us.
Right.
That's why Brian Walker, my co-author, and I are writing this book about entrepreneurial women. And we've divided it into 3 parts: spark, build, and thrive.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is about the idea. When you get the idea and you decide to go for it, that's already a mental hurdle that you have to cross that many
Mm-hmm.
people don't make.
Mm-hmm.
Brian shared that a lot of his students who are MBA students at Harvard Business School come up to him and they share an idea and they're like, someone should do this,
Right.
but
Right.
just not me.
Uh-huh.
And so our first chapter is literally called Someone Should Do This and It Should Be Me. Did you have that kind of internal barrier when you first came up with your idea, or even external barriers that influenced whether or not you were going to go for it?
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I want to tell you about a T-shirt I saw that really quick. I want to find at the MoMA. So with modern art, it said because it had it had a very famous Jackson Pollock, and it was like, I could do that. And then at the bottom it said, but you didn't.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So I feel so strongly about business owners. Why hasn't someone done it yet? Or that's such a brilliant idea. Why hasn't that happened? I mean, so many people have good ideas, but the execution of them is jumping out of a plane, hoping you have a parachute, and here we go. Right. So, for me, I guess it's the cowgirl in me, but I was like, almost said balls out on
Let's
your,
do this.
it's like,
Yeah.
let's go. The barriers came when we had to go to systems that were not ready for a cowgirl and a Latina immigrant, and to bring this company to get funding, to get advisors, to get even, investors, even the technology side of it. And so,
So it was that build stage when you decided to
the
implement
build
it
stage
that
was
the
so
barriers
hard.
came up.
Yeah. Now here, I do want to be clear on something. So my co-founder and I were definitely like, we're doing this, but this is indicative of women. We both were pregnant and had toddlers. You have to have health care. This whole, like, I'm building a $1 billion company, sleeping in a basement, my freshman year is great, but not common.
Yeah.
So particularly for women or people who have elder care, child care, they need insurance, they need to pay rent. I want to be really insightful and say calculated risk is fair, right? And so yes, we wanted to do it, but we had to figure out so much. So I kept my day job. Carolyn didn't have a job per se. We had to move in together and share babysitters because we were building in a lab in San Francisco. Neither of us lived there. We used my paycheck to pay the rent, the babysitter, and so on. Thankfully, both our husbands had health care. So, but those are really important, really tough decisions that people have to make. So the vast majority of women and actually people of color who start companies have another job. So I just want to be clear on that this whole like jumping out of a plane and, there is calculated for most people in America, and that is fair, right? So then when you do make that leap and you say, okay, now we're all going to quit our jobs, this is the next level of risk. And usually that's when, how much revenue do we have coming in the company? Can we pay our own personal bills? Women also tend to not pay themselves for a really long time and then undervalue themselves. And so, so those are you ask about barriers. There are legitimate, systemic, real barriers that all small business owners and entrepreneurs face. So then, and those are just community life, physical, so on. And so you take the next step, and then it's, at the time what we were building was quite expensive with engineering and data trees. And so we did have to go out and do a raise. Now, the vast majority of businesses will not pursue venture capital, nor should they. Those who do, there's a lot of reasons to how to approach it, why you approach it, who you approach, your references. But particularly for I think women, we get less than 2% of venture. So, you can just see how tough that is already. So we got 200 plus no's, and we're pretty
I feel
smart
like
women.
most people may have just stopped by then.
Yes. Well, I think I shared yesterday, we had all 4 kids in the car. And we were like switching down in Silicon Valley, Sand Hill Road, and somebody was crying, like, I think for 7 months, either me or Carolyn or one of the 4 kids during all this. But 200 no's, and then you finally get to a yes. And John Chena, who was the head of Silicon Valley Bank Capital, just really believed in us and believed in our idea. And Zoth that at Signia Venture. And, you hear me, I'm saying male names because there weren't really a lot of female decision makers at the time. And then you cling on to them and you do not let go, and you ask them to open every door that you can. And so these barriers, they still exist. I unfortunately, like, we've been advocating so long for venture, for women to go up, not necessarily for Hello Alice, but for our peers. And it did for a while, and then it came back down again. So what kills me as a capitalist is when women get equal access to capital, they outperform their male counterparts. And I'm like, don't we all want to make fucking money here? That always been curious to me. But anyway,
Because you would think in this capitalistic world,
let's go.
People will want to make money
Yes.
and will want to invest in what will make
Yeah.
them money. So if the data shows that women do outperform, is there data?
Oh
on
my
what
God,
you
so
just
much
said?
data. There's so much
That
data.
if they
And
do
even,
get capital.
even the heads of a lot of these big traditional institutional VCs, they know that. And, I do think there is good work getting fund managers and GMCPs on the other side of the table. So if I walk in and pitch a product that a male has never used, but a woman is sitting also in the room, there's just a different level of understanding and pattern recognition. People inherently fund or partner or sign off on things they understand, that they see in themselves, or they've seen success in. And that's just personal bias, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So having more women and people of color sitting on the other side of the table, I think, is almost as important as requiring men to see women pitches. I think there's well-meaning people that are trying to change this. I'm in a hurry. I want to change it faster.
Yeah.
So for us at Hello Alice, the flip is small business. And so how are we ensuring that the vast majority of business owners now are women, people of color, U.S. veterans, people with disabilities. You have rural farmers. You've got folks who just haven't had the traditional access. But how do we ensure systems change, but also that we are encouraging funders, banks, large fintechs to dig deeper into communities to find those business plans? And the other thing I'll just say about AI and data I'm so excited about is I think it's going to catch up with this issue. So we can fight all day long about values and what we think is right, which I will continue to do, but I'm really excited about data proving all this correct. So it's hard to argue with that. So open banking, I don't know if y'all have looked at that. I'm obsessed with it. So open banking is a whole new concept where, let's say I'm a small business owner. I have a t-shirt company in Houston, and I'm a veteran who's been deployed. So my FICO score isn't great. I didn't build credit history, but now I'm back. I've been in business a year. I have great contracts. I pay my bills on time. I have good cash flow in the bank. Basically, open banking is using AI and seeing the entire plane of this small business owner's records. So, he's never missed a payment on anything. He has 4 huge contracts with the Houston Astros coming in, so he's going to have cash coming in the bank. And then, he uses credit effectively. So for a small business loan, I'm not just looking at his FICO score or looking at the current P&L. I can look at all of that and be like, this is a great business person. I need to invest in them. So that's the generalization of open banking, but I'm a huge fan of it because it allows great business owners who either don't have the access or they've not built up strong enough credit or revenue yet to prove that they warrant a great loan. And so now I have to put an asterisk that we got to make sure from a security standpoint, cyber data protection, that we're looking at all that as well. But I was at Money 2020 the past week, and open banking was just a huge topic everywhere, and I got really excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love this.
I love you.
I don't even know what to ask you, Ness. Like, there's so much I can ask you. But while you were speaking, my mind was wandering a bit, and I was remembering back to a course I took in grad school about meta leadership.
Okay.
And that I later went on to co-teach with my former professor. There were two of them, and one of them, Barry Dorn, was saying, there's all these complicated definitions of leadership and all these things. But to me, a leader is just someone that people follow, that you want to follow. And as you were speaking, I was like, I will follow you. Like, I want to follow you. Like, tell me what to do.
Shit-kicking cowgirl sitting at Yale.
You. Yeah, seriously. Like, this is incredible.
Thank you. I will say one of the funniest phone calls I've ever gotten was, well, two in my life. One was when I got my job at the UN. I'm not a diplomat. I, didn't have a big private degree. I did speak Spanish, but no other languages. And I was like, you want this young blonde Texan to come into One UN Plaza? I remember laughing at that. The other one was, I have a show now called A Big Idea on Yahoo Finance.
Oh, cool. I hope our listeners will subscribe.
Yes, I hope you do, because it just tells the most beautiful, inspiring story of business owners. Their dirty unicorns, which is their biggest mistakes. We talk through their triumphs, but then they gave really good practical advice, because learning from each other, I think, is the best. But anyways, they called me and they're like, Yahoo Finance, we want you to come host a show on Yahoo Finance. And I was like, no, I don't do finance. I'm not a finance major. I don't, Stocks and Translation is a great show, but that's so not me. And they were like, no, it's a backhanded compliment. They're like, we really want someone who is of the people to talk about business. I was like, you mean you want a South Texas with pink hair coming in and using words like y'all? But no, it's been fun. I love the show. We've been really proud to be Amazon's pick for the top business show. And I really think it's because learning from folks who are in it that minute is the best. So, we had the founder of Waze on, and Yuri is so big on, he loves problems, not solutions. So he talked about flipping the way you look at business planning. We had Leon Howard, who's Wall Street Trapper, on. He has 2 million people that subscribe to learn about Wall Street. He learned that while he was in prison, taught himself, came out, and has just, blown away the ability for people to invest in the stock market.
That's so cool.
We baked by Melissa, the best cupcakes on the planet, So, but these individuals come in and they talk about both the triumphs and hardships of small business. And, again, it's just indicative of, we started this conversation, they're the most trusted group in America, and we all want to hear from them. So
yeah,
that's why the big idea is just so fun.
Yeah, and even as you're speaking to how you built Hello Alice, you're already speaking to the third pillar that I shared earlier about Thrive, like what success looks like to you and how you uplift others. And I think that that's the build and the Thrive go together with the Hello Alice plan, because you're doing this for small businesses, and it's both through the direct services that you provide through the AI on your website, and also through the knowledge building, like through your show, the advocacy, like you're testifying in the Supreme Court tomorrow, or
I am not testifying, but I am supporting. So a Yale alum, so to be very proud, Neil Katyal is at the Supreme Court today representing small business owners who have been significantly impacted by tariffs. And at Hello Alice, we're nonpartisan, but we advocate to the death for small businesses when we've got, we have 1.5 million of them, so we know when something's up, and they tell us. And the tariffs coming through at the level and speed and erratic nature that they have just decimated so many small business owners. Even like, so Busy Baby is a veteran-owned company that gives mats for infants. They just got these big contracts with Target and Walmart. They're veteran owned. They source goods from overseas, but then it's American made here. And she just was decimated by this. And I think of Brooklyn Tea. It's kind of the best tea shop all around New York City. They are just incredible entrepreneurs, same thing. And the folks that are in the Supreme Court today suing the administration, it's a fishing tackle store. It is, which I love to fish. So it's a wine distributor, it's a pipe fitter, it's a toy maker. And, they're from all over the country, and it's indicative of you can't just make unilateral decisions that aren't community driven and really understand the consequences. So today it's called VOS versus Trump, and they're trying to understand if the president has unilateral ability under a very specific law, EEPA, to call tariffs, because generally that is a congressional mandate. Mm. And the reason why I like it going through Congress is you have to then, my congressman look me in the eye in my district and say, is this the right thing to do or not? So they're actually not arguing the merit of tariffs today. They're arguing if the president has that ability. Right. So Neil Katyal, who's a Yale alum and has defended multiple small business cases, is there to make this point. And we want to be there to support not the lawyers, but the small business owners.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And you're also...
We love the lawyers too. But,
yeah. You shared that you're wearing the shirt on purpose because it's Veterans Week. Tell me about it.
Yes. So Veterans Day coming up. My dad is my favorite veteran, Mike McKee. He was a flight medic during Vietnam, U.S. Air Force. And turned small business owner entrepreneur. Oh, so a big part of Hello Alice is ensuring our U.S. veterans and military spouses are able to start and grow their businesses. Veterans have unique challenges when they come home, particularly around financial ability. Again, very credit build and establishing wealth and connections and access. Yet they are highly trained, highly technical, and exceptional leaders. And so making sure they have the funding and the access to grow their businesses. And the military spouses, very different. These spouses their spouses are active duty. They have to move a lot. Mm-hmm. So how are we supporting business owners who maybe are all online, they're virtual, and how do they get supported through their businesses? So happy Veterans Day. I'm on the board of Warriors in Quiet Waters. So we support post 9/11 combat U.S. veterans and ensure that they have both the mental health and physical health to move forward. It's at Bozeman, Montana. And big shout out to the men and women who lead that organization.
I love that. I promised my mentee, who you met yesterday, Sam, who's the founder of Calmwear, that I would wear the sweatshirt that she gifted me. But then I got hot and wasn't able to wear it. But I will give her a shout out. Then we would have both been wearing like symbolic shirts.
There you go.
But she has a mandana embroidered on the sweatshirt. And her whole company, it's a small business right out of New Haven, is about tactile patterns, like how anxiety and ADHD and so many other things can be helped by just like tracing your thumb on a pattern, doing simple breathing exercises. And she brings in multicultural like things from India and from the Middle East that people use, like worry beads and patterns. And she matches them with breathing exercises you can do, like tracing a triangle and,
so
cool.
Inhaling
and exhaling. And so without wearing the sweatshirt, I also want to give her a shout out, and a big shout out to all the companies that you've mentioned and the board that you serve on and the businesses that came yesterday. Bloom, who was on the panel, and Calmwear and Elena's on Orange, and the Lab at Concord and all the others. And mostly to you for being here and for doing the work that you do through Hello Alice and beyond by generating knowledge through your show and advocating in the court and probably so many other things we didn't even get to today. So thank you, Elizabeth.
Oh, thanks for having me. And I'm so proud that Yale is stepping out on social innovation, impact entrepreneurship. I mean, that's been my whole life. And the fact that I got to sit with a whole bunch of female students last night. The fact that this is actually taught now, and I mean, I learned it in my 40s. Yeah. It is so exciting. So thanks for what you do.
Thank you.